The sterile hospital room was filled with the faint hum of machines and the soft rustle of nurses moving about. The air was heavy with anticipation. Tom and Jessica were seated side by side, their hands intertwined, eyes sparkling with excitement, as they awaited the arrival of their first child. Jessica's heart raced with a mix of nervous energy and joy. She could hardly believe that soon they would be holding their baby girl. "Can you believe it's finally happening?" Tom whispered, squeezing her hand. His voice was a blend of awe and disbelief, as if he still couldn't wrap his mind around the reality of becoming a father. "I know. I've dreamed of this moment for so long," Jessica replied, her smile wide and genuine. She could already envision the life they would build together, the laughter and the love they would share with their little girl. Moments later, the room erupted into a flurry of activity as the doctor entered, a bright smile on his face. "All right, Jessica, it's time to meet your daughter." And just like that, the world outside faded away as Jessica focused all her energy on the task at hand. She pushed, and after what felt like an eternity, their baby girl was finally placed in her arms. A wave of emotion washed over her as she gazed down at the tiny, delicate face. "She's beautiful," Tom said, his voice thick with emotion as he leaned closer to take a look. "Absolutely perfect." But as the seconds ticked by, the doctor's demeanor shifted. He exchanged glances with the nurses, his smile faltering slightly as he prepared to deliver news that would shatter the blissful bubble enveloping the new family. "Tom, Jessica, I need to talk to you about something important," the doctor said, his tone becoming serious. "I'm afraid there are some concerns regarding your daughter's health." The joy in the room evaporated, replaced by an icy grip of fear. "What do you mean?" Jessica's voice trembled, her heart racing. The doctor took a deep breath. "She has been diagnosed with Down syndrome. While it's a condition that comes with some challenges, it's important to understand that it doesn't define her. Many children with Down syndrome lead fulfilling and happy lives." Tom's face fell as he processed the words. "Down syndrome?" he echoed, his voice barely above a whisper. His heart sank as a rush of uncertainty flooded his mind. The dreams he had for his daughter began to slip away, replaced by a haunting vision of a future filled with struggles and hardships. We can't do this," Jessica muttered, her voice shaking. I thought she would be healthy. I thought we would have a normal life." In that moment, the couple's excitement turned to fear and panic. They exchanged glances, and an unspoken understanding passed between them. The weight of the world felt too heavy, too burdensome to bear. As the doctor began to explain the resources and support available, Tom's mind raced with thoughts that he could hardly articulate. "What if we can't handle this? What if we ruin her life?" he thought. "Maybe we should consider our options," Jessica said suddenly, her voice laced with desperation. "I don't know if I'm ready for this. What if she needs more than we can give?" The doctor's words faded into the background as Tom and Jessica spiraled further into their fears. The room, once filled with joy, now felt suffocating. Tom's heart raced as he glanced at the tiny baby girl, so innocent and perfect, lying in her crib. "Maybe we should think about adoption," Tom suggested tentatively, though it felt like a betrayal to even utter the words. "There are families who would love her, families who know how to deal with this." Jessica looked away, tears spilling down her cheeks. "But she's our daughter," she protested weakly, though the weight of their situation pressed heavily on her heart. I don't think I can be what she needs," Tom admitted, his voice cracking. "What if we can't give her the life she deserves?" As the argument escalated, the couple's voices clashed in a desperate cacophony of uncertainty and fear. The doctor stood by, helpless, as the air grew thick with tension. "I can't do this!" Jessica shouted suddenly, her voice raw with emotion. "I can't be the mother of a child like that." Tom stared at her, shocked and hurt. "So you want to just give her away? Just leave her here?" "I don't know. Maybe it's for the best," Jessica cried, her hands trembling. In that moment, a decision was made in the depths of their anguish. With tear-streaked faces, they turned away from the crib, leaving behind the child they had once welcomed with open arms. Meanwhile, in the midst of the chaos, Sarah, a compassionate nurse, entered the room. The moment she laid eyes on the abandoned baby girl, her heart broke. Lily, as the baby was named, lay alone in her crib, completely unaware of the turmoil swirling around her. "What have they done?" Sarah whispered to herself, her heart aching at the sight of the tiny girl, so vulnerable and alone. She approached the crib, her hands trembling as she reached out to stroke Lily's soft cheek. "You're going to be okay," she murmured, her voice filled with warmth. Sarah had always dreamed of being a mother, and in that moment, she felt an overwhelming urge to protect this precious child. "I won't let you be alone, I promise," she vowed, her heart swelling with determination. As the minutes passed, Sarah watched as the nurses and doctors continued their rounds, oblivious to the heart-wrenching decision that had just taken place. She could feel the weight of the world pressing down on Lily's tiny shoulders, and she refused to allow it to crush her spirit. "Come on, little one, let's get you out of here," Sarah whispered, her voice soothing, as she gently lifted Lily from the crib. The baby nestled against her chest, instinctively seeking comfort in the warmth of her embrace. In that moment, Sarah made a choice that would change both of their lives forever. She would take Lily home, provide her with the love and support she deserved, and help her navigate the challenges that lay ahead. As she cradled the baby in her arms, Sarah felt a rush of hope and determination. She would be the mother that Lily needed, and together they would face the world, hand in hand. "Welcome to your new life, Lily," Sarah whispered, kissing the top of the baby's head. "You are loved, and you are never alone." And with that, the bond between them began to form, a bond that would become a beacon of light in the face of adversity, illuminating the path ahead for both of them in a world that often felt dark and unforgiving. Lily had grown into a bright and spirited child, her laughter echoing throughout the home she shared with Sarah. The walls of their cozy little house were adorned with Lily's artwork, a testament to her vibrant imagination and boundless creativity. Each painting seemed to burst with color, reflecting the world through her unique lens, a world full of wonder, even if it could also be unkind at times. One sunny afternoon, as the warm light streamed through the kitchen window, Sarah was busy preparing lunch. She hummed softly to herself, the sound of sizzling vegetables mingling with the sweet melody. Lily, with her tousled hair and paint-splattered clothes, was sprawled on the living room floor, a canvas in front of her, lost in her own world of colors and shapes. "Sarah, look at this!" Lily exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with excitement as she held up her latest creation. A swirling explosion of blues and yellows, reminiscent of a brilliant sunset over a mountain range. "It's the sky and the sun. Do you love it?" Sarah turned from the stove, wiping her hands on a dish towel as she approached Lily. "Oh, Lily, it's absolutely beautiful. You've captured the light perfectly. I can almost feel the warmth of the sun just by looking at it." She knelt down beside Lily, her heart swelling with pride at the girl's talent. "You have such a gift, my dear." Lily beamed at the praise, her cheeks flushing with happiness. She loved how Sarah always recognized her efforts, always made her feel special. "Can we hang it up? Right there?" Lily pointed to a blank spot on the wall next to her previous paintings. "Of course! It deserves a place of honor," Sarah said, smiling. She took the painting from Lily and carefully placed it on the wall, securing it with a couple of thumbtacks. "There we go! Now it's part of the gallery," Lily giggled, her laughter ringing like music through the room. "I want to paint more! I can make a whole gallery just for me." Her enthusiasm was infectious, and Sarah found herself swept up in the girl's excitement. But as Lily's artistic spirit flourished at home, the world outside their sanctuary remained harsh and unforgiving. At school, the whispers of children echoed in the hallways like a storm, and Lily often felt the weight of their judgment pressing down on her. She had learned to cope, to push through the stares and the sneers, but it didn't make it hurt any less. One day, as the school bell rang and students flooded out of their classrooms, Lily found herself cornered by a group of girls from her class. They snickered and whispered, their eyes glinting with malice. "Look, it's the art freak," one of them said, her voice dripping with scorn. "What are you painting today? More silly stuff that no one cares about?" Lily's heart raced, her hands trembling slightly as she clutched her backpack. She wanted to run, to hide, but something deep inside her urged her to stand her ground. "It's not silly," she shouted, surprising even herself. "It's beautiful, and it means something." The girls exchanged glances, taken aback by her unexpected outburst. "Oh, really? What does it mean?" Another girl sneered, crossing her arms. "It means I see the world differently than you do," Lily replied, her voice steadying. "And that's okay. I'm not afraid to show it." For a moment, there was silence, and then Mrs. Jenkins, Lily's teacher, appeared at the end of the hallway. She had been watching the scene unfold with a concerned expression. "What's going on here?" she asked, her tone firm but gentle. "Just teaching Lily a lesson about art," one of the girls replied, feigning innocence. Mrs. Jenkins stepped closer, her eyes narrowing. "It seems to me that Lily is doing something very brave. Art is about expression, and we should celebrate that, not tear it down." She turned to Lily, her expression softening. "I'm proud of you, Lily. Standing up for yourself is an important step." Lily felt a warmth spread through her, a mix of relief and gratitude. Mrs. Jenkins had always had a way of making her feel seen, understood. "Thank you, Mrs. Jenkins," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. As the girls slunk away defeated, Lily felt a rush of empowerment. Perhaps she could be strong, even in the face of adversity. Maybe she could turn the pain into something beautiful, just like her paintings. After school, Lily rushed home, her heart racing with the thrill of her newfound courage. "Sarah!" she called as she burst through the door. "You won't believe what happened today." Sarah looked up from her seated position on the couch, a book in her hands. "What is it, sweetheart? You look so excited." "I stood up for myself. At school, I told the girls that my art is important, and Mrs. Jenkins said she was proud of me." Lily's words tumbled out in a rush, her eyes wide with joy. Sarah's heart swelled with pride as she stood up and enveloped Lily in a warm embrace. "Oh, my brave girl, I'm so proud of you. That took so much courage." She pulled back to look into Lily's eyes, the genuine warmth in her gaze encouraging. "You are so strong, and your voice matters." "Do you really think so?" Lily asked, a hint of doubt creeping in. "Absolutely. You have a voice that deserves to be heard, and your art deserves to shine." Sarah smiled, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "And speaking of shining, I heard about an art competition coming up in our town. Would you like to enter?" Lily's eyes lit up, a spark of excitement igniting within her. "Really? Can I? I want to paint something amazing." "Yes, I believe you can create something wonderful," Sarah encouraged, feeling a wave of hope wash over her. "Let's start brainstorming ideas. What do you want to express with your art?" Lily's mind raced with possibilities, and she threw herself into the idea of the competition with all her heart. "I want to paint something that shows how everyone can be different but still beautiful," she said, her voice filled with determination. "Like all the colors in a rainbow." "Now that's a fantastic idea," Sarah replied, clapping her hands together. "Let's get started then. I'll set up the kitchen table for you, and we can gather all the supplies you need." As they prepared, Lily felt a surge of anticipation. The competition could be her moment to shine, a chance to show the world her creativity and resilience. Little did she know, the journey ahead would be fraught with challenges. But for now, she was ready to embrace the beauty of her art and the support of her beloved Sarah. Together, they embarked on a new adventure, one filled with colors, emotions, and the unbreakable bond of love that would carry them through whatever lay ahead. Lily sat cross-legged on the floor of Sarah's cozy living room, surrounded by a sea of colors. The sunlight poured in through the window, casting a warm glow over her collection of paints and brushes. Despite the vibrant hues that surrounded her, a shadow of self-doubt loomed over her. She stared at the blank canvas before her heart racing with uncertainty. The art competition was only a few days away, and the pressure to create something worthy felt immense. "Lily, sweetheart, can we talk for a minute?" Sarah's gentle voice broke through her thoughts. Sarah, her foster mother, had a way of making everything feel lighter, even in the most challenging moments. She settled down next to Lily, her expressive brown eyes filled with warmth and understanding. "I don't know if I can do it, Sarah," Lily confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. She picked up a brush, twirling it nervously between her fingers. "What if they don't like my painting? What if it's not good enough?" Sarah smiled softly, her heart aching for the little girl who had endured so much. "Lily, remember what we talked about? This isn't just about winning. It's about expressing yourself and sharing your heart with others. Your art is beautiful because it's uniquely you. But what if no one sees it that way?" Lily's eyes brimmed with tears, the fear of rejection gnawing at her spirit. She had faced enough hurt from bullies who mocked her talents and questioned her abilities. "Listen to me," Sarah said, placing a reassuring hand on Lily's shoulder. You have a gift, a way of seeing the world that's different from anyone else. Your paintings tell stories that only you can tell, and that's what makes them special. Don't let anyone take that away from you." Lily took a deep breath, drawing strength from Sarah's words. They had shared many moments of laughter and vulnerability over the years, and it was in those moments that their bond deepened. "Okay, I'll try," she said, her voice steadier. "I'll try to paint from my heart." "That's the spirit," Sarah beamed, her heart swelling with pride. "Why don't we put on some music and let your imagination run wild?" With a nod, Lily turned on her favorite playlist, filling the room with melodies that danced through the air. As the music enveloped her, she picked up her brush and dipped it into a vibrant shade of blue, letting her creativity flow. Each stroke felt like a release, a way to channel her emotions onto the canvas. The colors began to blend, creating a sky that seemed to stretch endlessly above her. Hours slipped by as Lily painted, losing herself in the rhythm of her brush. Sarah watched from the couch, her heart filled with admiration. She marveled at how Lily's spirit shone through each stroke, the way she poured her soul into the artwork. It was a beautiful reminder of the resilience that defined Lily's character. As the day of the competition arrived, excitement and anxiety swirled within Lily. She stood in front of the mirror, adjusting her hair nervously. "What if they don't like my painting?" she muttered again, biting her lip. "Lily, look at me," Sarah said gently, kneeling beside her. "You are going to do great. Just remember, it's about sharing your heart. What you've created is truly wonderful, and I know that everyone will see that." "I hope so," Lily replied, forcing a smile, but feeling the weight of doubt still pressing down on her. They made their way to the community center, where the competition was being held. The walls were adorned with colorful banners, and the air buzzed with excitement. Children and parents milled about, admiring the artwork on display. Lily's heart raced as they approached her painting, a vivid portrayal of acceptance and love. The colors danced on the canvas, reflecting her journey and the beauty she had found in it. But as she stood there, a familiar group of voices reached her ears. "Look who it is, the art freak," sneered one of the boys who had bullied her in school. His friends snickered behind him, their laughter piercing Lily's heart. "Why even bother? You know you're just going to lose," another girl added, her tone dripping with disdain. Lily's cheeks flushed with humiliation, and her heart sank. Just as she was about to turn away, Sarah stepped in front of her, her eyes fierce. "Hey, that's enough. You need to respect her and her art. You have no idea how hard she's worked on this." "Whatever, it's still just a bunch of colors," the boy replied dismissively, his arrogance unabated. "Maybe," Sarah said, her voice steady. "But those colors represent something real and meaningful, unlike the emptiness of your words. Art is about connection, and you're missing the point completely." Lily felt a rush of gratitude for Sarah's unwavering support, but the pain lingered. She wished she could brush off their words like dust from her shoulders, but they clung to her like shadows. "Let's just focus on the competition," Lily murmured, trying to shake off the encounter as they moved towards the judging area. She took a deep breath, attempting to find her center, but the whisper of doubt still echoed in her mind. When it was finally her turn to present her painting, she approached the judges, her heart pounding in her chest. "This is my painting," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "It's about love and acceptance, and how we can find beauty in our differences." The judges nodded, their expressions thoughtful as they studied her work. "You've captured a lot of emotion here," one of them remarked, a hint of admiration in his voice. "It's really quite lovely." Lily's heart soared for a moment, feeling seen and appreciated. Just as she was beginning to believe in herself, she heard the unmistakable sound of laughter behind her. The bullies had returned, and this time they weren't just watching. "Hey, look at that!" the boy shouted, pointing at her painting. "I bet it's just as terrible as you are." Lily's heart dropped, and before she could react, one of the girls lunged forward, knocking the painting over. The canvas hit the ground with a sickening thud, the colors splattering across the floor. Gasps echoed around the room as Lily's world shattered in an instant. "No!" Sarah cried out, rushing to Lily's side as the judges stood in stunned silence. Lily knelt beside her painting, tears streaming down her cheeks. "It's ruined!" she sobbed, her heart aching with despair. "I'm so sorry, Lily," Sarah said, wrapping her arms around her. "I should have known they would try to ruin this for you." Lily shook her head, feeling the weight of defeat wash over her. Maybe I should just give up, she whispered, her voice barely audible. What's the point if people just want to hurt me? Lily, please don't say that, Sarah urged, her voice filled with urgency. You are so much more than what they think. You have a light inside you that can't be extinguished by their cruelty. This moment, as painful as it is, doesn't define you. Lily looked up at Sarah, her eyes filled with confusion and hurt. But it feels like everything is falling apart. Sometimes, the most beautiful things come from the hardest experiences, Sarah said softly. You have the strength to rise above this. Let's clean this up and see what we can do together. With a deep breath, Lily nodded, wiping her tears away. As they gathered the remnants of her painting, a small flicker of determination ignited within her. Perhaps the bullies could destroy her painting, but they couldn't take away her spirit or her passion for art. Let's make something new, Lily said, her voice steadier now, filled with a newfound resolve. I want to paint again. That's the spirit, Lily, Sarah beamed, relief flooding her heart. Let's show them what you're really made of. As they cleaned up, Lily felt a surge of hope. The journey ahead was uncertain, but she was ready to fight for her dreams, no matter the obstacles that lay in her path. With Sarah by her side, she knew she wouldn't have to face it alone. Together, they would rise above the pain and create something beautiful once again. Lily sat cross-legged on the floor of her cozy room, surrounded by a sea of paint tubes, brushes, and canvases. The late afternoon sunlight streamed through the window, casting a warm glow over her latest project. Determination lit up her eyes as she squeezed a bright blue paint onto her palette, the color reminiscent of the sky on a clear day. She was ready to pour her heart into this new canvas, channeling the whirlwind of emotions she had experienced in the days since the art competition. Just a little more blue here, she muttered to herself, her brow furrowing in concentration. The memory of her ruined painting still stung, but rather than sinking into despair, she felt a spark igniting within her. Each stroke of the brush was a cathartic release, as if she could paint away the pain and reclaim her joy. In the kitchen, Sarah busied herself with dinner preparations, her mind drifting between thoughts of Lily's resilience and the nagging curiosity about her birth parents. She had always been open with Lily about her adoption, but the recent events had stirred a deep desire to understand more about the girl's origins. What had prompted Tom and Jessica to abandon her? Did they ever think about the little girl they left behind? Lily, sweetie, how's the painting coming along? Sarah called out, her voice laced with warmth. She leaned against the doorframe, watching Lily with a mix of pride and concern. It's going great, Mom, Lily replied, her face lighting up. I'm making a big, beautiful sky. Look. She turned the canvas to reveal a vivid depiction of swirling blues and soft whites, a reflection of her ever-evolving spirit. That's stunning, Lily. You have such a gift, Sarah said, her heart swelling. I can't wait to see what it becomes. Me too, Lily exclaimed, her enthusiasm infectious. I'm going to add some clouds, and maybe a rainbow. It'll be perfect. With renewed vigor, she dipped her brush into white paint, her fingers dancing across the canvas. As the sun began to set, painting the room in hues of orange and pink, Sarah's thoughts returned to her own quest. She had decided to reach out to the hospital where Lily was born, hoping to gather any information about Tom and Jessica. It was a delicate situation, one that required sensitivity and care. She picked up her phone, feeling a mix of anxiety and determination. Mom, can we have a movie night later? Lily's voice broke through her thoughts, pulling her back to the present. Of course, I'll make popcorn, Sarah replied with a smile, grateful for the distraction. What do you want to watch? Something fun? Maybe a cartoon? Lily suggested, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Sounds perfect. I'll finish up here, and we can start in a little while, Sarah said, turning her attention back to dinner, though her mind remained preoccupied with the upcoming call. After dinner and their movie, as the credits rolled and Lily snuggled beside her, Sarah felt a surge of affection for the girl she had raised. Lily leaned her head against Sarah's shoulder, her eyes still bright with the enthusiasm of the day. Mom, do you think I can be a famous artist one day? Lily asked, her voice soft and hopeful. Absolutely, Lily. You have a talent that can inspire so many people, Sarah replied, wrapping an arm around her. Just keep believing in yourself and never give up on your dreams. With a content sigh, Lily nestled closer, her heart full of warmth. As the movie faded into the background, Sarah found her mind wandering back to the phone call she needed to make. The next morning, she would reach out to the hospital and search for answers. The following day, Sarah sat at the small table in the corner of the cafe where she often met her friends. The coffee shop buzzed with laughter and chatter, but her focus was solely on the task at hand. She took a deep breath and dialed the number for the hospital's records department. Her heart raced as it rang, each sound echoing her anticipation. "Hello, thank you for calling St. Mary's Hospital. How can I assist you today?" A friendly voice answered. "Hi, my name is Sarah Thompson. I'm calling about an adoption case. I'm looking for information regarding a baby girl who was born there several years ago. Her name is Lily," she explained, choosing her words carefully. "Let me check our records," the woman on the other end said. There was a brief pause filled with rustling papers. "Yes, I see the records. May I ask why you're looking for this information?" "I'm Lily's adoptive mother, and I'm trying to learn more about her birth parents. I want to understand her background better," Sarah replied, her voice steady despite the flutter of anxiety in her stomach. "I can provide you with some basic information, but please note that due to privacy laws, there are limits to what I can disclose." "I'll do my best to assist you," the woman said, her tone professional yet kind. After a few more questions and some time spent on hold, Sarah learned the names of Lily's birth parents, Tom and Jessica, and that they had left a note expressing their feelings about their situation. It was a small glimmer of insight, but it only fueled Sarah's desire to dig deeper. "Thank you so much for your help," Sarah said, feeling a mixture of gratitude and trepidation. She hung up, her mind racing with thoughts. What could that note contain? Why had they made the decision to leave their daughter behind? The questions lingered, and the need for answers became more pressing. Later that evening, as Lily worked on her painting, Sarah's heart ached for her daughter and the uncertainty of her past. She walked into the room, her heart heavy. "Lily, can we talk for a moment?" Sarah asked gently, sitting beside her on the floor. "Sure, Mom. Look at this part," Lily said, gesturing to the canvas. "I'm adding some flowers here. They're going to be bright and happy." "They are beautiful, Lily. You have such a wonderful imagination," Sarah praised, her voice softening. "I wanted to tell you that I reached out to the hospital today." "About what?" Lily asked, her interest piqued. "About your birth parents. I wanted to learn more about where you came from," Sarah explained cautiously. Lily's eyes widened, a mix of curiosity and apprehension washing over her. "Do you think they miss me?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I don't know, sweetheart, but I think it's important for us to understand your story, just like how you're painting your own," Sarah said, her heart aching at the thought of Lily's innocence and yearning for connection. Lily nodded, her small hands gripping the brush tightly. "I just want to know if they're okay. Maybe they didn't mean to leave me." Sarah felt a lump in her throat. "You're right. We all want to know why things happen the way they do. I promise to keep searching for answers, and we'll figure it out together." As they sat in silence, the weight of the world seemed to hang between them. But amidst that heaviness, a sense of hope flickered. They would face the future together, no matter what it held. Days turned into weeks, and Lily continued to pour herself into her art, each brushstroke a testament to her strength and resilience. Sarah, too, delved deeper into the mystery of Lily's past, her heart torn between the desire to protect her daughter and the need to uncover the truth. The looming questions about Lily's birth parents and their choices hung in Sarah's mind like a shadow. She knew that whatever she discovered would not only impact Lily, but also shape their future together. But for now, the only thing that mattered was the bright sky Lily was painting, a canvas full of possibilities, waiting for the colors of their journey to come alive. In the softly lit office of the social worker, Sarah sat across from Ms. Thompson, a woman in her late 50s with kind eyes and a warm smile. The air was thick with anticipation as Sarah clutched a folder containing Lily's records, a mix of hope and fear coursing through her veins. She had come seeking answers about Lily's birth parents, driven by a desire to understand the girl she had raised and loved as her own. "Thank you for meeting with me," Sarah said, her voice steady despite the butterflies in her stomach. "I'm really hoping to learn more about Lily's background." Ms. Thompson nodded empathetically. "Of course, Sarah. I can only share what's available in the records, but I'll do my best to provide you with the information you need." As Ms. Thompson began flipping through the folder, Sarah's heart raced. She felt a mixture of anxiety and excitement. Was there something remarkable waiting for her in those pages? The social worker pulled out a few documents, her brow furrowing slightly as she scanned the text. It seems that Lily's birth parents, Tom and Jessica, come from a family with a history of artistic talent, Ms. Thompson began, her voice filled with a mixture of intrigue and caution. In fact, both of them had relatives who were artists, painters, and musicians. It's possible that Lily inherited this gift from them. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. Artistic talent? That made sense. She had always seen a spark in Lily, a unique way of viewing the world that translated into her art. The colors Lily chose and the emotions she poured onto the canvas were often striking, and now, to learn that it might be part of her heritage felt like a revelation. "Do you think that explains her passion for painting?" Sarah asked, her voice tinged with excitement. "It's certainly a possibility," Ms. Thompson replied, looking thoughtful. Artists often draw from their experiences, their ancestry, and their emotions. This connection could be significant for Lily. Sarah leaned back in her chair, allowing the information to sink in. It was as if a door had opened, revealing a pathway to understanding Lily's essence. The thought of sharing this with Lily made her heart swell. It would mean so much to her, knowing that her talents were not just a fluke, but part of a legacy. "Is there anything else I should know?" Sarah pressed, her curiosity piqued. Ms. Thompson rifled through the papers for a moment before continuing. "Beyond the artistic lineage, there isn't much else disclosed in the records. However, I do have a few contacts who might provide further insight into the family if you're interested." Sarah nodded eagerly. "Yes, please. I want to understand everything I can about her roots." "Great. I'll get in touch with them and see what I can find out," Ms. Thompson said with a reassuring smile. "In the meantime, it's clear that Lily is a special girl. Nurturing her talents could make a world of difference in her life." After saying her goodbyes and expressing her gratitude, Sarah left the office, her mind racing. She couldn't wait to tell Lily about the artistic heritage that flowed through her veins. As she drove home, she envisioned the moment they would share this news. Would Lily feel a sense of pride? Would she see herself reflected in the legacy of artists who came before her? When Sarah arrived home, she found Lily sprawled on the living room floor, her paints and brushes scattered around her like a vibrant explosion of color. The little girl was completely absorbed, her brow furrowed in concentration as she mixed shades of blue and green on her palette. Sarah smiled at the sight. This was the essence of Lily, lost in her art, oblivious to the outside world. "Hey, sweetheart," Sarah called gently, kneeling beside her. "What are you working on?" Lily looked up, her face lighting up with a smile. "It's a surprise. You'll see soon." "Can't wait," Sarah replied, her heart swelling with love. "But I have something exciting to tell you too." "What is it?" Lily asked, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. Sarah took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the news she was about to share. "I met with a social worker today, and she told me something amazing about your birth parents." Lily tilted her head, her expression shifting to one of intrigue. "What did she say?" "They have a family history of artistic talent, Lily. Your birth parents, they come from a line of artists, painters, and musicians. It's possible that your amazing art comes from them." Sarah's voice was filled with enthusiasm, and she watched as a flicker of realization crossed Lily's face. "Really?" Lily's eyes widened. "So, I'm an artist because of them?" "Yes," Sarah exclaimed, her heart racing at the joy in Lily's voice. "You have a special connection to your roots, and it's something to be proud of. It means your creativity is part of who you are, and it's something you can carry with you." Lily's face broke into a radiant smile, and she jumped up, her excitement infectious. "That's so cool! I want to paint something to celebrate it." Sarah laughed, her heart full. "What do you have in mind?" "I want to paint a big rainbow," Lily declared, her enthusiasm spilling over. "A rainbow that shows all the colors of my family. I'll put my heart into it." With a newfound sense of purpose, Lily gathered her brushes and started to work on her canvas, the vibrant colors swirling together in a beautiful dance. Sarah watched in awe. The girl before her was not just painting, she was expressing a part of herself that had been waiting to be discovered. As the hours passed, the room filled with the sounds of brush on canvas and Lily's joyful humming. Sarah felt a warmth in her chest. This moment was not just about art, it was about connection, identity, and the power of love that transcended bloodlines. Later that evening, as they sat together admiring Lily's vibrant rainbow, the doorbell rang, breaking the peaceful atmosphere. Sarah furrowed her brow, glancing at Lily, who looked equally curious. Who could that be? Sarah wondered aloud as she stood up to answer the door. When she opened it, her breath caught in her throat. Standing on the doorstep were Tom and Jessica, Lily's birth parents, holding an envelope that seemed to weigh heavily in the air. Sarah, Tom began, his voice trembling slightly. We've come to talk. Sarah's heart raced as she glanced back at Lily, who was peeking around her, confusion etched on her face. The moment felt surreal, like a scene from a movie, and Sarah's mind raced with the implications of this unexpected visit. Can we come in? Jessica asked softly, her expression a mix of apprehension and longing. Yes, sure, Sarah replied, stepping aside to let them in, her mind whirling with thoughts. What did they want? Why now? As they settled into the living room, Lily remained by Sarah's side, sensing the tension in the air. Tom and Jessica exchanged glances, their faces a blend of regret and hope. Lily, Jessica said, her voice trembling, we've missed so much of your life. We want to explain and apologize. Sarah felt her heart tighten. This was the moment she had feared yet anticipated. What would Lily think? Was she ready to hear what they had to say? Why did you leave me? Lily's small voice broke through the silence, her eyes searching for answers. Tom and Jessica exchanged pained looks, the weight of their choices hanging heavily in the air. Sarah felt torn between protecting Lily and allowing her the opportunity to understand her past. As they began to share their story, Sarah knew that this was only the beginning of a complicated journey for all of them. The path ahead was uncertain, but one thing was clear. Lily was a remarkable girl, and her journey of self-discovery was only just beginning. The sun dipped low in the sky, casting a warm golden glow in the small meeting room where Lily sat, fidgeting with the hem of her shirt. The air was thick with anticipation, an electric charge that made her heart race. Across the table sat Tom and Jessica, her biological parents, their faces etched with regret and nervousness. They had traveled a long distance to meet her, and the weight of their decision to abandon her hung heavily in the room. Lily, Tom began, his voice trembling slightly, we're so grateful that you agreed to meet us. He glanced at Jessica, who nodded, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. We've thought about you every day since that moment. Lily shifted in her seat, her mind swirling with emotions. There was excitement, yes, but also confusion. She had dreamed of this moment, had imagined what it would be like to see her parents. Yet now that it was happening, she felt like a stranger in a room filled with familiarity. Why did you leave me? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Jessica inhaled sharply, a pained expression crossing her face. We thought we couldn't handle it, she admitted, her voice thick with emotion. We were scared. We didn't understand what it meant to have a child with Down syndrome. We made a terrible mistake. Lily looked down at her lap, feeling a rush of emotions collide within her. It was hard to reconcile the love she longed for with the hurt they had caused her. You had a choice, she replied, her tone firm but tinged with sadness. You could have chosen to stay. Tom's shoulders slumped, and he ran a hand through his hair in frustration. I know, and I wish we could take it back. We were young and foolish. We thought we were doing what was best for everyone, but we were wrong. Lily felt a mixture of anger and pity for them. They were just people, flawed and scared, but they were also her parents. I grew up with someone who loved me, she said softly, thinking of Sarah, her foster mother, who had always encouraged her, nurtured her talent, and shown her what unconditional love looked like. I had a family. Jessica's eyes widened, the realization hitting her. You have a family. You have Sarah. She looked at Tom, her voice trembling. We were so blinded by our own fears that we didn't see the love our daughter was receiving. Lily's heart softened a little at their sincerity, but the knot in her stomach remained. I've done a lot of things, she said, summoning her courage. I paint. I even won an award recently. She pointed to the small trophy she had brought along, a symbol of her determination and resilience. That's amazing, Lily, Tom exclaimed, his face lighting up for a moment. We're so proud of you. But then the moment of joy faded, replaced by the weight of unspoken truths. What about my family? Lily pressed, her curiosity overwhelming her caution. Do I have other family? Is there anyone else like me? Jessica's face fell, and she looked away, as if the question had struck a nerve. "There's something we haven't told you," she said slowly, her voice trembling. "I have a sibling, a brother. He also has Down syndrome." Lily's breath caught in her throat. "What do you mean?" Tom cleared his throat, looking at Jessica with a mix of concern and determination. "We didn't want to discuss it, but it's important for you to know. Your mother and I, we have a history of this in our family. It's like a shadow we've carried, hidden away." Lily felt the ground shift beneath her, the revelation striking her like a bolt of lightning. "So, it's in our family?" she asked, her mind racing. "Why didn't you ever tell me?" Jessica's eyes filled with tears as she searched for the right words. "We were ashamed. We thought we could protect you from the stigma we faced. We thought we were doing what was best by hiding it." Lily's heart raced as she processed the information. "But you couldn't protect me from the truth forever," she said, her voice steadier now. "I deserve to know who I am." The tension in the room thickened, laden with unspoken fears and regrets. "You're right, Lily," Tom said, his voice filled with sorrow. "You deserve the truth. You're remarkable, and we were too scared to embrace that." As they spoke, Lily felt a sense of empowerment welling up inside her, an understanding that she was more than just a label, more than just a child with Down syndrome. "What if I have more talents?" she mused, her mind racing. "What if I'm more like my sibling than I realize?" Jessica reached across the table, her hand hovering just above Lily's. "You are extraordinary just as you are," she said softly. "And we're here now, ready to support you in any way we can." The conversation shifted, the initial tension giving way to a tentative understanding. They spoke about art, about struggles, and about family. With each word, Lily felt a flicker of hope igniting within her. Perhaps this was not just a meeting of regret, but a chance for something new to blossom. Just then, as if the universe was responding to her thoughts, Lily's fingers began to fidget with a small piece of clay she had brought along. It was a remnant of her latest project, a sculpture she had started but never finished. With a sudden burst of inspiration, she picked up the clay and began to mold it, her hands moving deftly as she created something beautiful from the raw material. "What are you making?" Tom asked, his eyes widening with curiosity. Lily didn't look up, her focus entirely on her creation. "I don't know yet," she replied, her voice steady, "but I can feel it taking shape." A smile crept onto her face as she worked, the tension from earlier dissipating as she lost herself in the process of creation. Jessica leaned closer, her eyes filled with wonder. "It looks incredible, Lily. You have such a gift." "I think it's a part of who I am," Lily said, her voice quiet but firm. "Just like my art, just like my family." As the minutes passed, the sculpture began to take form, revealing an intricate design that seemed to echo the emotions swirling in the room. With each twist and turn of the clay, Lily felt a deeper connection forming, not just with her parents, but with her own identity. "Lily," Jessica said, her expression serious yet hopeful, "whatever our past was, we want to be a part of your future." Lily paused for a moment, looking up at them, her heart racing. "I don't know what that means yet," she admitted, "but I want to find out." The air around them crackled with possibility, and in that moment, Lily felt a profound realization wash over her. She wasn't just a girl with Down syndrome. She was an artist, a daughter, a sister, and so much more. The journey ahead would be complicated, but she was ready to embrace it. "Let's figure it out together," she said, her voice steady. "I want to know my family, all of you." As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a final golden hue upon them, they sat in a newfound closeness, the barriers between them slowly dissolving. In the space of that room, a new chapter began to unfold, filled with the promise of understanding, acceptance, and the exploration of the extraordinary life that awaited Lily.